Hello everyone, welcome back to our fourth installment of Daily Article. Today we're going to be reading an article called Electric Eels. So obviously this is going to be a nonfiction text about electric eels. So after we read the article, we'll go over the key points and then you guys will reread on your own and answer some questions. Okay, so I'm going to read the article, Electric Eels by Lydia Lukidis. Did you know that electric eels have quite a misleading name? They do. That's because even though it's true that they are electric, they're actually not eels. Instead, they are a kind of fish called knife fish. They are closely related to carp and catfish. So they're actually not eels, they're a type of fish called a knife fish. The most interesting thing about electric eels is that they can produce an electric charge. The shock can go up to 600 volts. Wow, that's a lot. That is 5 times stronger than the electricity produced in a regular wall socket. So when you plug in your phone charger or iPod or computer charger in the wall, the electric eel gives off way more electricity than that. So you can get a bad shock from the wall. That's why you have to be careful plugging stuff in. You never want your hands to be wet or you don't want to try to force it in. That's because you could get a shock. And the electric eel shock is way stronger than that. So the shock can go up to 600 volts. This can knock down a full-grown horse. That's pretty powerful. The body of an electric eel contains 3 pairs of special abdominal organs that produce electricity. So the abdominal muscles are your stomach muscles. These organs can produce 2 types of electricity: high voltage and low voltage. So the organs in the eel's stomach produce the electricity. So that's what makes the electricity, their organs. Electric eels use their charge to hunt and protect themselves. They also use the charge in another way. Since eels have poor eyesight, that means that they can't see well, they don't rely on their eyes to see. Instead, they give out a weak electric signal that they use like radar. This radar helps them find their way around. It also helps them locate their prey. So they're using the radar to help them see and also to help them hunt. Electric eels live in fresh water. They are nocturnal, which means they sleep during the day and are active at night. Oh, we just read another article the other day about a different nocturnal animal, the skunk, right? So electric eels are also nocturnal. They mostly live in rivers in South America. They like dark waters, mud, and caves. Most of their time is spent underwater. Once in a while, they'll come up to the surface to breathe. This is pretty unusual. Let's take a look why. Almost all species of fish breathe oxygen in the water through their gills. So remember that fish have gills, little slits in the sides of like their necks, and that's what they use to breathe in oxygen. The electric eel, however, is quite different. So the eel is different from other fish. Electric eels live in waters that have very low levels of oxygen. So the waters that these electric eels live in, it doesn't have a lot of oxygen. As a result, they have adapted to their environment in a way that allows them to breathe air. So they've changed to live in their environment. An electric eel will regularly come to the surface about every 10 minutes to inhale air through its mouth. Then it will swim back to the bottom of the water. So because there's not a lot of oxygen in the water where the electric eel lives, it pops its head up to the surface every 10 minutes to breathe air. Oh, hello, Miss Pearl, you're back? Oop, goodbye. So that's unusual because it's different than other fish. All right, let's turn to the second page. Electric eels are carnivores, so they love to eat meat. Remember, we learned that carnivores are meat eaters, herbivores are plant eaters, and omnivores eat both meat and plants. They like to chomp on fish, shrimp, and other small animals like birds or rats. They are very good at attacking their prey, and their teeth are really sharp. Electric eels like to dig in the sand and hide there. That way, they can launch surprise attacks on their prey. Electric eels are pretty amazing travelers. Some of them even travel up to 4,000 miles to find a mate. Wow, so they travel a really long way to find a boyfriend or a girlfriend. That's a long way. This journey can take over 7 months. After they mate, the male uses his saliva to make a nest for eggs. The female can lay up to 17,000 eggs. Wow, that's a whole lot of eggs. And then the male helps by getting a place ready for the eggs with his saliva. Last paragraph. If you saw an electric eel, you might think it looks like a snake. They have long, thin bodies. They can be white, black, blue, purple, or gray in color. They can grow to be quite big, even as long as 8 feet. That's taller than most people. They can weigh up to 44 pounds. Some people may be afraid of them since they look like they can be a bit creepy and they produce electric charges. But there's no need to worry. It would be very unusual for you to come in contact with one. And they rarely harm humans, so that means that they don't usually hurt people. In fact, they are afraid of people. In some cultures, people eat electric eels. They are a delicacy. That means that they're a fancy, expensive food, so they're a real treat in some cultures. Since the blood can be toxic, that means poisonous, the eels need to be fully cooked. Would you eat one? I wouldn't, because first of all, I don't think it would be very delicious. And second of all, if its blood is toxic, poisonous, I don't want to risk that it wouldn't be cooked correctly. So I think that I'll take a pass and not try to eat electric eel. Okay, so let's go over what were the key points from the article. We know that an electric eel is actually electric, but it's not actually an eel. It's really a fish called a knife fish. We know that eels can shock up to 600 volts, which is very powerful. It said it could knock down a horse. We know that they have organs which produce high and low voltage electricity. So it's their organs in their stomach and their abdomen that create the electricity. They use radar to help them see and hunt, and they do this because they don't have very good eyesight. They are nocturnal, meaning they're up at night and sleep in the day. They live in rivers in South America. Oh, they're not like other fish because instead of breathing oxygen with their gills underwater, they pop up to the surface every 10 minutes to breathe air. And they are carnivores. They eat meat. Okay, so now you guys are going to go reread your article and then you'll answer and submit your questions. All right, good job.